What's up guys, DuArktik with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video I'm going to reveal all the secrets that you need to know in order to completely max out your Black Cat trials. This is going to be on difficulty 10, the gameplay is going to be on difficulty 10, but you can apply all of these for difficulty 9, 8, 7, 6 and whichever difficulty you want. If you are asking which people should do difficulty 10, which people should do difficulty 9, I would say that if you have your nowhere at 6 yellow stars, 6 red stars, you can do difficulty 10 fine. If you are below that, then you should try to do difficulty 9. I think a lot of people will be able to do difficulty 9 if they follow these instructions. If you are doing already difficulty 8. There are some nuances that you can use, and if you follow my strategies, you can beat the enemies without taking any amount of damage that is significant enough, and this is why you might be able to do this, because if you don't take damage, well, you can kill the enemies and still progress towards your goals, right? Now, this is going to be with all the packs except the first. I have done 2 more runs with all the packs on, with 120 packs, and I have done and I'm doing 1 more run with a few secret teams that I developed since yesterday, but unfortunately I cannot share those teams with you as they are definitely next level. But as soon as the Black Cat trials, or maybe on the second run, I will share these other teams with you that I'm not able to share right now. The last pack that we have, Experimental Serum 2, it increased the health of the enemies by 20%, which is a problem, but if you are using the right weight, if you are using all the right characters, it should not create a huge problem for you. Okay, so the gameplay we're going to take a look at, it's going to be on 2 times speed. And if it's necessary, if there is like a crucial point that I have to point out, well, I'm gonna pause the video and then we can talk about it. It's gonna be a little bit longer, so buckle in and let's get started. Let's reveal all the secrets for Black Cat trials, and I will give you some additional secrets that are not in this video, but that I discovered between 2 days ago or 3 days ago when this was recorded, and since then. But like I said, my super hyper exclusive ones I will have to wait until the event is over to share with you. Okay, so with that said, let's get started. Let's take a look at these Black Cat trials. 115 packs, but also works with 120, difficulty 10, but also works on difficulty 9 and below. Here we go. Now, this is always going to be one shot except the last node, and on the first node you can charge up some ultimates, preferably the ultimate of Red Hulk and the ultimate of Val. This is going to give you a huge advantage on node number 4 or so. And this is the team that you can use to charge up easily, right? Apocalypse, Archangel, Red Hulk, Spider Weaver and Val. This is going to be because your characters are going to be protected, and Archangel also generates ability energy for Red Hulk and also for Apocalypse. So we are going to destroy the enemies. It's not a big deal, nothing special here. You can use the special of Val here, and that will allow you to get the ultimate faster. You just have to make sure that you don't kill the enemies way too fast, right? You might be able to do 2 or 3 attacks, and there we go. On this run, I was not really super careful. I was just trying to rush through. That's why I made some mistakes, and that's why I had to do more runs. This is definitely not perfect. You definitely want to stun that Morgan Le Fay. The best character for you to apply ability block and to charge up Val is going to be Nobu. Yes, Nobu of all characters, because he's in the corner and you can do some splash damage to him without killing him. With the Spider Weaver, we stun Morgan Le Fay, of course, but now we also have the charges to protect us from her attacks. And you just want to do it slowly, just to make sure that you have all the cooldowns available. And there we go. So here I made a little bit of a mistake. I should have used the special of Val early on, in case you are trying to charge up, or you just don't use it at all. Okay, now we have the second node, and for the second node you can use full nowhere, which is the best option. And this node if you understand how it works, then you're not going to have a problem. A lot of people struggling with this node, even content creators that are on top 50, they don't know exactly how to do this node properly and they rely too much on luck. But what you want to do is to stun Morgan Le Fay, and then you blind her, and then you keep turning winding her, right? Then you have to save the ultimate of Thor for the second wave. You should ability block the dagger, so dagger does not clear away the heal blocks, and also she does not heal up the entire enemy team. Otherwise you are just wasting time and losing efficiency. So ability block dagger with Thor and save Thor ultimate for when the second wave drops. Also, when the second wave drops, or before that, you want to use the ultimate of Korg. This is going to give you defense up and some extra deflects on top of the defense down, offense down that you are doing with Thor. You are going to be very protected, so it's not a big deal. At this point in time, you can use the special of Thor to ability block Spider Weaver. If that's not the case, just go for it, you're gonna kill her anyway, but we had the chance of ability block her, and that's what you should do. Okay, now at this point we are just going to do some basics. We are going to get that offense up from Korg. Korg is a very important character here. The offense ups that he gives are really crucial. Okay, you want to apply blind to Gwenpool. She's going to clear your positive effects away, and of course you don't want that. Like I said, you want to use the ultimate of Korg later in the match, because that will give you defense up and also deflects. Some people use Korg as a fortifier, some people use Korg as skirmisher. That's a big mistake. You need to use Korg as a striker, because he's going to turn rewind the enemies and also apply slow with ISO 8 attack. And that's why you need to have Korg and Nova as a striker. Cosmo, Star-Lord and Thor needs to be the ones that apply vulnerabilities, right? So Cosmo as a skirmisher or as a healer, but I prefer skirmisher, and then you want Thor and Star-Lord as raiders. And I'm not a big fan of raider. I kinda hate the raider ISO 8, but unfortunately the nodes are designed to have into consideration the raider ISO 8 on those two characters. I'm not sure if the developers made that on purpose or not, but unfortunately it's the case. Okay, so you have to make sure that you kill the Spider Weaver, then the Spider Womans, then you want to make sure that you kill Deadpool, and then for last you can leave Gwenpool and Domino and even Captain Marvel, just to make sure that you have time in order to replenish your abilities. Just make sure that for the first 2 turns that Gwenpool is blinded. Okay, we are going to use Darkhold with Hela and with Dormammu. I no longer use this team, but this team is still approved. You can still use this team. I use a slight variation on this team, which allows me to play safer with higher multipliers. But this team is still fine. I think for most people this is going to be the most convenient team, because yeah, it might be a little bit too hard to play with the other one. Anyway, we have Dormammu, we have Hela. It's not super convenient to use Hela together with vultures on the enemy side and also with the Zemos, but it's just something that you have to deal with, and you want to destroy the vultures and also the swarms at the same time. These swarms, it's the updated version of Swarm, so they really hurt. You want to make sure that all the enemies have heal block. If they don't have heal block, you're gonna have huge problems, because Dr. Octopus is going to heal up them all the time. And something you should do that I didn't is to stun Dr. Octopus. If you don't stun Dr. Octopus, he's gonna keep giving 1000% speed bar, 100% speed bar, which is 1000 speed bar, to the enemies, to all the Sinister Six, and that's gonna be a huge problem. So make sure you stun Dr. Octopus and then finish the other guys off. This Bishop, you can keep him around to give you energy. Make sure you don't apply offense down to Bishop, and sometimes you can attack him on purpose just to make sure that you get additional energy on your Dormammu or on your Ella and so on. And then when you have Madeline Pryor around, you want to get rid of her as fast as possible, or you want to stun her so she doesn't mind controls the enemies and then kills you. So yeah, be careful with that because the mind control of her is quite problematic. Now the enemy have Dormammu, but they don't get revives because it's a clone. You have to make sure that you kill Phoenix after Madeline Pryor. If you stun Madeline Pryor, just kill Phoenix right away. And this is the point where we need to try to get some additional energy because we want to heal up our Dormammu, right? Because if Dormammu is not at full health, he's not going to revive characters. Okay, so because the Mr. Sinister cloned Dormammu, we have to finish him off. Make sure he has slow. If he has slow, it's going to be very easy to finish him off. And now with Agatha, we are just going to do some attacks. You should also use Striker Isolate on your Dormammu in order for you to do multiple attacks on the same target. And you can use the Drain of Dormammu to make sure that he is at 100% health. Okay, we're going to take a look at the global controllers. I no longer use this team. I use a small variation of this team, which is more consistent. And it was actually based on someone in the chat. Magneto dies here. And this is why we are using Dark Beast, because you can revive Magneto. Now, it's not super important. So with this new version, it doesn't even matter, because you're going to use Omega Red and it's going to apply trauma to Icarish and it will make it super easy. If you have Magneto around, Magneto can blind Icarish. Unfortunately, this time on this specific attempt, they killed my Magneto too early, but it's usually not the case. If Icarish has offense down and if you don't have any minions sitting around, you can survive his ultimate easily, so just pay attention to that. Okay, so after you apply the blind, you want to make sure that you put all the characters together, and you want to make sure that you also extend the blinds. The enemies have the blind for 2 turns, and now you want to spread these blinds around. Yes, I know, some content creators, very famous content creators, even envoys, do not know that the Morgan Le Fay ultimate spreads negative effects as long as you don't kill the target. So this is going to be crucial for you to make sure that you have all kinds of survivability. And this is why I say it doesn't even matter the size of your team, because your enemies are not going to attack you. That's pretty much it. The only characters that really matter is Morgan Le Fay and Doctor Doom. Okay, so now we have the second wave of enemies. You want to apply Disrupt to all kinds of Asgardians, just in case if one of the Asgardians dies, they are not going to get a bunch of buffs. You also want to make sure that you have as many traumas as possible on the field, so once again the negative effects are not removed. Then you want to make sure that you are spreading the blinds that you had on your previous enemies to the new enemies, right? We had your Asgardians early on with 2 turns of blind, so you want to make sure that you spread that blind to the new enemies. In this case, it's going to be the Elsas, the Mordos, and Cersei. Because I took a little bit too long to kill my enemies, the position of the enemies is not the best to spread the blinds, so you're gonna forget about that and move on. When you see the Dr. Voodoo, you want to apply Disrupt to him so he stops gaining death proofs. And you can blind or ability block Ghost Rider. I think that's going to be super convenient for you, because otherwise he's not going to be able to do his special, which is the only ability that really kills you. Okay, so Dark Beast died, Magneto died. That's fine, we are still going to be able to finish this. But this is why I'm using a different strategy, because right now I'm finishing this with a way better score in terms of how fast you beat it, and also with the health of the characters. This one I can tell you right away because it was not my idea, it was someone from the chat. Here you just want to use Omega Red instead of Dark Beast, and in terms of consistency it's a lot better, and also in terms of score. Okay, that was the global controllers. Now we're going to take a look at the brawlers, and I would say that this brawler node is probably one of the hardest nodes, in my opinion. Now, I have a new strategy, which I said I cannot reveal, and with that new strategy, this is super easy. But like I said, I cannot reveal it. After the event is over, we can talk about that. I'm going to use Black Cat. Black Cat helps quite a lot here. We want to have as many stuns as possible, and yes, I'm saying this, but we only have 2 stuns. You can use Abomination here. The Abomination is not a secret, but the other ones I cannot mention. So yeah, if you bring Abomination here, you'll have one additional stun. You want to make sure that you clap on that long shot as fast as possible. You want to turn rewind slow the Shatter Star, and then you want to make sure that you kill the, what's her name, Polaris. Very, very important to kill Polaris. You don't want to deal with her ultimate. You can see these disrupts can be quite annoying. If you have Shang-Chi, it's not a big deal because Shang-Chi can clear the disrupts away. But if you don't have Shang-Chi, then you're gonna be in huge problems because that disrupt is for 2 turns. And if you have any kind of regens, she also applies bleeds to you, flipping those disrupts. So it's quite problematic. Okay, so you destroy long shot, you destroy Shatter Star so they don't get too much barrier. Then you destroy Polaris, and Wong is not a big deal. I don't know what happened to my enemy Wong, but he's gone already. Then what you want to make sure is that you put on the field as many clones as possible. The prime multiple mans, they are on the middle position, on the front row, and they are on the far left on the front row as well. So those are the enemies that you want to attack in order to get as many clones as possible. And that of course will allow you to get your cooldowns better, and you want to make sure that yes, you have your cooldowns because they're going to be extremely important. Now Quicksilver in this node does not have a lot of value, is better on the second Brawler node, and the reason why it's because he loses the charges way too fast and you cannot get rid of these enemies, and that's why I had to come up with some newer strategies, some more efficient strategies, because it just takes way too long. And my Quicksilver is big. My Quicksilver is 7 yellow stars, 5 red stars with ISO 8 blue level 5, yes, and still it was not fast enough. Okay, but either way, Quicksilver works fine, but because our team is also super fast, he always has a bunch of buffs on himself. And you want to make sure that you have the stun of Black Cat ready, because you are about to use it. And you also want to make sure that you have the ultimate of Quicksilver ready, if you decide to use him instead of Abomination. And you also want to make sure that you have the ultimate of Red Hulk ready, just in case, because sometimes the enemies that we are facing go on stealth and you need to flip that stealth plus the defense up. Okay, so we have all the cooldowns ready. We are tapping very, very slowly. We want to make sure that Red Hulk goes first, and we are going to apply vulnerability to Agatha and apply offense down to everyone else. Now, depending on which team you are using, once again, I'm no longer using this team. I'm using 3 different characters on my new version, but like I said, I cannot share. You want to make sure that or you stun Gambit, or that you stun Agatha, or that you stun the Strange Supremes. It depends on how many stuns you have. The more stuns you have, the better. But if you don't have stuns, you want to make sure that you ability block Morgan Le Fay. So because we ability blocked her, we don't have anything to worry about. And Shang-Chi is going to turn rewind the enemies, and everyone died, right? Everyone died, that's a big deal, but that's why we have Val. That's why we have Val with her ultimate. She's going to steal Morgan Le Fay, and she's going to revive Red Hulk and also Shang-Chi. We still have the stun on Black Widow. We need to save that stun for later. And you want to make sure that your Black Widow is a striker, so you can turn rewind Morgan Le Fay as often as possible, while also applying slow to her. Okay, so as you can see, the score, the bonus score was 3000. With my new team, I'm getting a score of 4600. So the final result is going to be a lot better. And here we go for the node number 6, I think. And we are going to use Nowhere again. There are multiple ways of doing this. I like to stun Agatha, and I like to get rid of Mordo as fast as possible. So you should stun Agatha and you should ability block Mordo. That's the best way of playing this. The way I'm playing here, it's not a good way. We are just fucking around. trying to rush. Sometimes trying to rush, you just waste time, and here is exactly the case. Okay, so with the Korg Striker Eyes Await, we are going to apply slow to those enemies on the other side, and we are going to use the ultimate of Nova. You want to make sure that you kill as many people as possible, so the Ghost Riders attack Nova so many times that he gets energy from the attacks, right? Unfortunately, it really depends. You have to be a little bit careful because it doesn't always work. It works better if your Nova is smaller. Mine is already too big, 7 yellow, 5 red, and because of that I cannot capitalize on that mechanic of these Black Hat trials. Okay, we are going to finish off those Killmongers. Not a big deal, these Killmongers. You can apply offense down to them, it's not a big deal. You have to make sure that Captain Marvel stays alive, so you can recharge your energy with her. So, as you can see, I'm gonna wait for her to heal up, just to make sure that my Nova has at least the ultimate ready. The special is not super important, to be honest. It's actually more important to have the ultimate ready rather than the special, but we'll talk about that later when we are on the last node. Okay, we have Mystic Villains once again. We are going to use Dr. Doom here. We need Dr. Doom here. And your experience on this node depends on how big your Dormammu is and which Eyes Await you have on your Dormammu. I strongly recommend to use Striker Eyes Await on your Dormammu because you want him to do the drain multiple times once again. Not because we need him alive, but because it's convenient, because you can use his special and the ultimate multiple times. Okay, so you want to flip the positive effects into negative effects on Quicksilver. You want to do the same for Silver Surfer. You want to make sure that all of them have Disrupt. And you also want to apply vulnerabilities or to Minerva or to Dark Beast. Those are your priority targets beyond Quicksilver and Silver Surfer. Ultimate with Strange Supreme, that will allow him to use the drain, depending if he has heal block or not. Unfortunately, mine had heal block, so we cannot capitalize on that. And then you want to make sure that you apply stun once again to Quicksilver. Yes, you need to stun Quicksilver 2 times in a row. I'm a little bit confused because I didn't use the ultimate of Dormammu. I usually use the ultimate of Dormammu whenever he's scalded for the attack with Doctor Doom. But if you have the ultimate of Doctor Strange charged up, you can save the ultimate of Dormammu for this phase, for the second wave of enemies, right? Because like this, you can apply slow to them and you'll have a huge advantage over your enemies. Okay, so when Magneto shows up, you want to make sure that you apply Disrupt to Magneto, and you really don't want him to have speed up, otherwise he's going to blind your characters, and that's going to be a huge deal. So because everyone has slow, because of Dormammu or not, you can start shipping them away. You can use the ultimate of Agatha to stun Icarish because she stuns Hero Cosmic enemies. And that's it. So make sure you have your energy ready on Dr. Doom. You can see that I'm almost full of energy, and you also want to make sure that your Morgan Le Fay has energy on her ultimate, or at least if it has the special, to make sure that the ultimate is soon enough. Okay, so that was Mystic Villains. Once again, you can save the ultimate of Dormammu for the second wave. It depends on your Strange Supreme how big it is. Okay, now we are going to take a look at global controllers, and I used one new version of this team, and now I use another version which is even better. But like I said, I cannot share, but this one works fine, it works okay. If you are using Black Widow, the secret is that you are not going to use her special. You cannot use the special of Black Widow. You want to make sure that at the beginning of the match, you steal the offense up from Kate Bishop. Yes, you have to remove the offense up from Kate Bishop. And then you want to make sure that you apply vulnerability and disrupt to Miss Marvel and to both Gwenpools. Okay, so only now you can use the Black Widow special, right? After Doctor Doom attack, after Morgan Le Fay attack, Then you can finally use the special of Black Widow to give speed up to everyone. We're going to use the basic with Morgan Le Fay as often as possible to make sure that we are draining the health of the enemies. And you want to make sure that you attack Kate Bishop as often as possible with your Doctor Doom. So whenever Echo retaliates, she's going to give energy to your Doctor Doom. So I'm actually surprised because the strategy I'm using now, it's just so much more advanced than this one. I'm even surprised. Okay, so with Black Widow, we stunned Red Hulk. And you want to make sure that you extend that stun and also that you apply trauma to the enemies. And now you're going to remove the speed bar of the enemies. Unfortunately, they do not have slow, which is a problem. And you can see that She-Hulk does not charge properly. You see, you can attack the enemies and she's not going to charge properly, but you can get rid of her anyway. Okay, we're gonna try to apply slow to Red Hulk, not the case. So now you have to use Omega Red Ultimate to apply the slow and also trauma. Okay, now you want to attack, you want to spread those negative effects, you want to make sure that you spread slow to everyone, especially to Kestrel. You don't want Kestrel attacking you. And even that Doctor Doom died, you no longer did not Doctor Doom. Now, what's his name? Red Hulk died with the bleeds, he died with the attacks from the team. And now the only character we have to worry about is Kestrel. The minions of Nick Fury, they do not spawn with a taunt. It's not the improved version of the minions of Nick Fury, so it's not a big deal. But either way, you should special the Nick Fury just to make sure that he's ability blocked and that he cannot give buffs away and also heal up the team. So I still heal up these characters with Scarlet Witch, but like I said, what I'm doing now, it's way better than this. And we finished with all 5 characters rather than just 3 characters. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the last Brawler node. And for this one, we are going to use Black Cat, Red Hulk, Abomination, and Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike here is super good. Quicksilver is okay. You have to make sure that the Quicksilver ultimate is ready. But it's very RNG based, so you can see that I use this ultimate and I only apply slow to one target. And you want to make sure that you maximize the amount of slows that you have on the enemies. You're gonna clap with Abomination. You want to make sure that you apply offense down to everyone. And the thing about the team that we have right now, they have a lot of survivability. Red Hulk and Abomination, they have self-healing plus Drain. Quicksilver also has self-healing plus he summons Scarlet Witch. Black Cat and Lady Deathstrike, they also have Death Proofs, Evades, and Drain, and also healing on turn that keeps them alive. So this is why this team is quite good. Am I still using this team? No, I'm no longer using this team. I have a better team to do this, way more efficient. But overall, you can still get some good value out of this. So you want to make sure that you stun the Kraken Americas, that's the Captain America's World War II, so they don't use their ultimates. Their ultimates hurt quite a lot, and on top of that, he also applies offense down to you, which is not great. You have to make sure that you keep turning winding the Captain Carter and that you get rid of her, right? You want to make sure that you get rid of Captain Carter. And you want to make sure that Captain America is also not taunting around, but you can see that a lot of the abilities from the enemies do not work. So even if you push them below 50% health, Captain America is not going crazy around against your team after. Okay, so we have the second wave of enemies. You can start right away by using the Red Hulk ultimate, or you can use the special. I usually use the special. Here it was not the case. And now you want to make sure that you apply Turn Rewind or Stun to one of the Iron Fists. You have to make sure that you control these Iron Fists because they are going to revive. Yes, they are going to revive Bucky Barnes or Kraken Americas, and you don't want them to do that. With your Quicksilver, if you are using Quicksilver, you want to make sure that you shred the Iron Fists, but you also want to make sure that you apply Disrupt to Nick Fury, very important. And with Red Hulk, finally, we are going to do the Turn Rewind. You can see that my Red Hulk has 3 charges. But there is some bug with Red Hulk that when he gets 5 charges, he does not get energy. I don't know why. I'm not sure. You can see he got 5 charges, he didn't got the energy, and he also didn't got the speed bar. So I'm not exactly sure why, but a lot of the buffs of the characters, they are not working properly. Okay, so we turn and wind one of those Iron Fists, we stun the other one once again. Unfortunately, Lady Deathstrike died, and because of that I level her up a little bit more and she's a lot stronger now. Mary Hill, she's going to do her ultimate, but you have to remember that they have heal block with trauma. That's why you brought Red Hulk. And because of that, she's not going to be able to heal up, so don't worry about her second turn. Once again, you want to make sure that you keep stunning those Iron Fists, and now as soon as Squirrel Girl drops with Kate Bishop, you want to turn and wind both of them. I didn't do that, I should. I'm not sure exactly why I didn't do it. Maybe because I was doing this at 5 in the morning. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why you should play you should play this at a decent time so you don't make as many mistakes. Okay, so we are going to turn and wind that Squirrel Girl. You want to make sure that you stun her or ability block her. If you cannot stun her or ability block her, you want to make sure that you force Squirrel Girl to go below 50% health, so she uses her ultimate rather than the special, and like that she's not going to heal up. The problem with that is that Kate Bishop after is going to mess you up like she did with me, and this was way too much reliance on luck, but we are going to heal up with Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is great. Quicksilver is good, but what Scarlet Witch brings to the table together with them, the healing and so on, is excellent for this. But there you go, that's the final Brawler node. We got 3500 efficiency, pretty decent, but we can do a lot better. Okay, so now we have node number 10, and we are going to use Sinister 6. You want to make sure that you put Mysterio in one corner, so the position I'm using here is wrong. You want to put Dr. Octopus in one corner, you want to put Mysterio in the other corner, and you want to put Swarm in the middle. Like this, there is a chance that your Swarm will dodge, and then you can get more attacks in the face. It was not necessary, we were still able to pull the ultimate of Nova, but it's not always the case, so you have to be careful. Okay, now we are going to go with a full team. And I think I'm also not using the correct position here. Yeah, I should have Nova next to Korg. Like I said, I was doing this at 5 in the morning 3 days ago, and mistakes were made. So what you want to do, and it's very important, you need to have Thor and Star-Lord as Raider. It's must have, you need. If you don't have, it's not gonna work, or it's gonna be way too difficult. If you are doing this on difficulty 8 or 9 maybe, 9 is already a problem. If you're doing this, if you're doing this on 7 or 8 difficulty, it doesn't matter. But on difficulty 9 and 10, you need Thor and Star-Lord as Raiders. You have to make sure that you nuke as fast as possible the enemy Nova. And when he loses all the charges, you want to make sure that you stun him with trauma, you want to apply slow to him, and then you just want to destroy him. If you see that you have enough time, you could also ship away a little bit the enemy Cosmo, but that depends on how safe you are of yourself. At this point, you can see that Thor has his ultimate ready and also the special. You want to use those abilities when the second wave drops. Okay, we're going to apply blind to Gambit. It also applies blind to Black Bolt, which it's whatever, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is blind on Gambit. And then you want to start shipping away the enemies. With Cosmo now we can use the special, it doesn't really matter, but you can also remove that offense up from Kestrel. And this is what matters, you need to use the ultimate of Thor and apply vulnerabilities to all the enemies. After you go with the ultimate of Star-Lord, and they are going to get heal block and trauma. Heal block and trauma, so they're going to have defense down, offense down, heal block, trauma and bleeds, and that will allow you to destroy all the enemies. And that's one of the mistakes that people do, is that they focus on the dogs rather than focus on the damage. Nah bro, just focus on the damage. You want to get rid of Gambit, at least until he, or while he's blinded. You don't have to, but as soon as he's not blinded, you really want to make sure that you destroy him. And then you want to get rid of Black Bolt, you want to get rid of Kestrel, so all this crazy out of turn damage is not done to you. If you have the ultimate of Nova, you want to apply it to the Kang, and if you have the special of Star-Lord, you want to use the special of Star-Lord on Agatha, so she doesn't do the ultimate to your characters. Okay, so here we go, we're going to apply blind to Cosmo, but that's just because I'm trying to apply as many vulnerabilities as possible. Then once again, you want to rush for the damage. You don't have to worry about the revives from Minerva, because she's always going to revive or Nebula or Gamora, so it doesn't really matter to your progress. Okay, we are going to turn rewind that second Cosmo. We are going to do the ultimate of Star-Lord once again with offense up. Once again, we have trauma, we have bleeds, we have heal block, and they cannot recover from that. And at this point, it's pretty easy. Finish off Kang, finish off Agatha. The Nebulas, you can pretty much ignore them. And yeah, now you're going to finish this with just 3 characters. This is... it's decent enough, right? It's decent enough. We are finishing the difficulty 10. But right now I'm finishing all the time with a full team. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so once again, special of Korg, you want to make sure that you use that all the time. The special of Korg is extremely important. The special and the ultimate, but especially the special, because it's applying the slow and also giving offense up to your team, which your Nova really needs to do some decent damage. Especially, once again, especially if you don't have the empowered abilities on him. Okay, we have one last stun. We're going to use it on Agatha for reasons. I don't really know why. But at this point, with 2 dogs and Nebulas, you want to just slow them as fast as possible or as often as possible. And then as soon as you are done with the Nebulas, you just go for the dogs, and that's pretty much it. They don't do a lot of damage, so you don't have to worry about too much. But yeah, so... Star-Lord died, Thor died, but that's fine. You can still finish this with Korg and with Cosmo. Make sure that you have the right size of weights. I like to use a Skirmisher once again on Cosmo, Striker on Korg because of the slow. It's extremely important to apply those extra slows to your enemies. Okay, so there we go. That was my first run on difficulty 10. Like I said, I have done 2 additional runs since then, and I'm already on my 4th, because now I have like the best experience and the best teams to do this. And this allowed me to get a score of 3,253,000. This score is no longer good for top 50. If you want to be top 50, you need a score around 3,280,000. And this is where we are working right now. At this point in time, this was good enough to beat all the other content creators, especially Porkypad. And that's quite nice, because both of the content creators that we have on top 50, they all got accounts that are not theirs, and on top of that, they also used the test server to have the experience to try the trials early on, which is extremely unfair. I'm not really sure what the developers are thinking. If you are working for leaderboards where people are spending money, how do you allow some of the top competitors to have a test run for several hours on your test server? It's absolutely ridiculous, but this is what we have. And right now I'm sitting around rank 37, I think, with 3,285,000 points. But like I said, I'm doing this 4th run with new strategies that allow me to get way more efficient. Okay guys, so that's going to be the video. All the secrets revealed for this. Of course, the other secrets, you'll have them on the near future, or after the event is over, or after, or on the second run of the Black Cat trials. You have to understand that I spend a lot of time and resources getting to this point. So if I reveal to everyone and then people just copy my new teams, well, then it was all for nothing. So I hope you guys can understand that. Either way, good luck for your Black Cat trials. I hope this video was informative. I hope I was able to explain very well the different tricks and scenarios that you have to pay attention to. And as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.